What is differentiation of self? Well, it's a family systems theory created by Murray Bowen. It's all about balancing our individual self while staying connected to the system. If you think about your family of origin as the greatest example, that there is a family system. You can feel that when you step into it, right? You are expected to be a certain role. And so it's this teeter-totter, right? This balance of staying yourself and staying connected to them. See, again, like a teeter-totter, we'll tend towards improper connection. And one of those is enmeshment, where we lose ourselves into others. The other one is detachment, where we're not in relationship. We're still ourselves, but we're separated from them. If you want more on either enmeshment or detachment, I'll have a link in the comments where we go into what that is. But in essence, it's within that family, you being self-confident and staying connected. This is a lot harder than we think it is, and it affects more areas than we think. Because when I said family systems, and now I'm giving an example of family, you might think that it's just your family. But this is any system. So in your workplace, there's a family system there. With all these people, you imagine yourself with strings attached to everyone. And how do you stay connected in that string line, yet still stay yourself? See, the lower the differentiation we have, the more reactive we get, the bigger chronic anxiety affects us. And chronic anxiety is not so acute. Anxiety is like you get in a car wreck and right in that moment your heart races, your mind's spinning, everything's going on. That's acute. Chronic anxiety is that same effect of the car wreck, but nothing's happening, like waking up in the middle of the night with your thoughts just racing. That is the effects of chronic anxiety. And when we're in those moments of chronic anxiety, it reveals how low our self-differentiation. And you're going to tend towards, either instead of self-differentiation, you might tend towards enmeshment, right? Going in, or detachment, separating from. Which one do you struggle with? Have you thought about that? But with anxiety management, it's all about how do we raise a higher differentiation of self, this self-confidence in the family system. There's 5 practices of self-differentiation. It's keep our anxiety from spilling from ourselves onto another, because chronic anxiety can be caught like a cold. It's from keeping from catching theirs while you're staying emotionally connected to yourself, key there, and to them, another key, right? You're connected to yourself and to them, and staying connected to your vision and values, and aligning with your values with reality, right? We don't want to get off on reality. You can see this play out in a few movies. Someone with high self-differentiation. If you like The Karate Kid, I grew up on The Karate Kid. Mr. Miyagi is a great example of self-differentiation. If you're into more action movies, Gladiator, the Gladiator is self-differentiation. He won't bend to the others, he holds his value. Or my favorite action movie of all time, Braveheart. William Wallace, freedom! He is in that moment, he's self-differentiation. He is willing to even die to hold to his values. And if you watch in that movie, he stays connected to people all around. Historical figure, Jesus. If you look throughout the scriptures, Jesus is the most self-differentiation. He's the only one, I believe, in history that is fully self-differentiation. He will not bend to what people want him to be. In fact, even to death, right? He has a mission. His closest friends want him to be something else. All the people around him want him to be something else. But he stays true to himself while staying connected. And you can see moments of great, great connection, like the woman at the well, and these other places where he won't bend to what people want. Signs you might be struggling with this. And we all go through seasons, I just want to say, where we struggle with not being self-differentiation. I personally struggle more towards enmeshment. And so which one do you struggle with? Figuring that out will actually help you be more self-differentiation more often. The goal, by the way, is not 100% self-differentiation. That Jesus, fully man, fully God, that's the only one that's been able to do it. So I don't think this is something we can fully develop. I think we'll be teeter-tottering But we can grow stronger in it, and a little stronger in it can change your life. Because here's some costs of not being self-differentiated. Have you found yourself in a lot of triangles where you're arguing with someone and you go to someone else and then there's this three-way thing going on? You easily catch someone's anxiety. That's another sign of not being self-differentiated. I'm going to look at my notes for a second. Cutoffs, like you just cut someone off. Anti-family, you can't be connected to your family and be true to yourself. You're the anti-family, right? My people, they were this way, and I will never be that way. You'll gravitate towards unhealthy relationships. You may tend to be more codependent. And here's one I struggle with. Trying to change others so that I feel better. It's not even about the other. It's so that we feel better. Those are signs that you might be struggling with self-differentiation. But I wanted to leave you with some tips of how can we grow in this. How can we grow in this? So there's 3 areas that we want to grow in to be more self-differentiated. The first one is growing in who we are. Growing in who we are. So, for some of you, this might be easy, but we have 3 steps, right? Some of this might be more challenging. What do you believe? What do you think? Who are you? That is growing in the definition of who you are, right? So that you can be more self-differentiated while staying connected. The stronger you are in knowing who you are, the more you can be self-differentiated and not rely on the other person, not these needs crossed into unhealth because we don't stand for who we are. So it's even in a 2-person relationship, it can be us and nothing else. How do we grow the second area is growing in awareness, right? We all have thoughts and feelings. In fact, men have just as much feelings as women, yet most men are a little more muted in knowing what their feelings are. Well, growing in that will make you more self-differentiated. So journaling your thoughts and feelings. You might need a feelings list that you can find online. As we talk about feelings, I was discussing this with my wife this morning. As we talk about feelings, we even confuse them, right? We have more feeling thoughts. And here's an example. I feel disrespected. That is not a feeling. That is a thought you've grabbed from a feeling. So what underneath it do you feel? It's important that you can recognize the difference between feelings and thought. I feel disrespected. That's another one. That's not a feeling. That's a thought. And then pre-interaction work. So let's say you're going to go into a confrontation. Do you know where you are at? Are you in a heightened anxiety? Are you angry going in? Knowing those things will help you to hold, because remember, we're trying to stop ourselves from spilling out onto others. And so if you're angry and anxious and you're not aware of it, and then you go into a conversation, it's going to go sideways, right? All right, third one, self-regulation. So there's this managing anxiety, right? And I'll put a link in below on managing anxiety, chronic anxiety, because that's an important part of self-regulation, to even notice that you're there. Why does that person trigger you? Does it connect to your past? Is it even that person there? Where did it come from? What am I fearful of? What makes me anxious? Why am I thinking when that person reacts to me? These are all questions. So you can see these questions, they are not like a one-time answer. This is a growing in it. One thing that has helped me in anxiety management, self-differentiation, it's all to want to grow in this, right? Is that I want to have loving, thriving relationships. And the only way I can have those, true love, true thriving, is to be self-differentiated and to manage my anxiety and to grow in those things. So if you need a little kick, that helps me to get going. So this channel is all about how we connect to others, ourselves, and to God. And in essence, how do we grow in self-differentiation so that we have those healthy relationships? So if you are interested in that, I would love for you to join the community and subscribe. No pressure though. Have an awesome day, and it is worth the internal effort, the internal struggle to become more self-differentiated. God bless you.